Hi everyone, and welcome to Big Ideas Growing Minds. We are so happy you are here. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world to us. Today's big idea comes from Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman and his best-selling book, Thinking, Fast and Slow. In the book, he explores the way in which the mind makes decisions and judgments. He does this by addressing the complexity of the human mind. The book offers a better understanding of how decisions are made, why certain judgment errors are so common, and how we can improve ourselves. In this video, we will focus on what he calls the two main characters of the human mind: the impulsive, automatic, intuitive System 1, and the thoughtful, deliberate, calculating System 2. As these two systems play off against each other, their interactions determine how we think, make judgments, and act. The two main characters of the human mind. When you have to make sense of something, make decisions, or form an opinion, you think about it. According to Daniel Kahneman, all of our mental activities are driven by two contrasting systems: the intuitive System 1 and the deliberate System 2. System 1 is fast and produces responses and decisions almost instantaneous. In contrast, System 2 thinks, analyzes, evaluates, reasons, and then responds. Human beings like to believe that our decision-making is mostly driven by System 2. But the truth is that System 1, which is almost involuntary, lays the foundation for most of our decision-making. Let's review the two systems in more detail. System 1. System 1 can be described as involuntary thought that automatically draws upon relevant knowledge and uses it to reach a quick conclusion. It is in charge of your automatic skills, like driving your car. It instinctively makes you turn to see where a sudden loud noise is coming from, or frown when you see a gruesome image. You can experience System 1 at work, when, for example, you see 2 + 2 written on a board, and simply cannot help thinking of the right answer. You have these involuntary responses innumerable times a day, and most of the time you are not even aware that your System 1 thought processes are at work. System 2. By contrast, you use System 2 when you're focusing on specific details, like figuring out how to complete your income tax forms, do complicated math, try new physical activities, or search for a specific person in a crowd. System 2 thinking is slower and requires that you give uninterrupted attention to the task at hand. One of the main duties of System 2 is to overcome the impulses of System 1. In other words, System 2 is responsible for your self-control. The two systems at work. Which system you use depends on the effort you are expending. System 1 is on auto-respond mode all the time, using impressions, feelings, and gut instincts, while System 2 needs to be called into action and formulates ideas and beliefs before it acts. There are countless instances when both systems work in conjunction, like when you pay extra attention when driving late at night, or when you consciously make an effort to remain polite even though your temper is frayed. To see the two systems in action, try solving this famous bat and ball problem. A bat and ball cost $1.10. The bat cost $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? The price that most likely came to your mind, 10 cents, is a result of the intuitive and automatic System 1. And it's dead wrong. Take a second and do the math. Do you see the mistake? The correct answer is 5 cents. What happened was that your impulsive System 1 took control and automatically answered by relying on intuition, but it answered too fast. If faced with a complicated problem, System 1 will call upon System 2 for help, but in the ball and bat dilemma, System 1 is tricked into believing that it is an easy problem, so it tries to answer it on its own, and that is why most people get it wrong. Conclusion. When we use our brain, we tend to use the minimum amount of energy possible for each task. This is known as the law of least effort. Because checking with System 2 uses more energy, System 1 tries to solve any difficulties on its own whenever possible. And because System 1 is prone to jumping to conclusions, it makes mistakes in many situations. If you are aware of this fact, and hence temper your thought processes by using System 2 thinking, you will increase the likelihood of reacting more accurately and appropriately. And with that, we conclude this video on System 1 and System 2, as Daniel Kahneman presents them in his best-selling book, Thinking, Fast and Slow. We hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to give it a like. Take care, and see you soon.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Big Ideas Growing Minds. We're so happy you're here. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world to us. Today's big idea comes from Nobel Prize winning Daniel Kahneman and his best-selling book, Thinking, Fast and Slow. The book offers a better understanding of how decisions are made, why certain judgment errors are so common, and how we can improve ourselves. In this video, we'll focus on some key definitions from the second part of the book called Heuristics and Biases. If you're not already familiar with the work of Kahneman, we recommend that you check out our other videos on Thinking Fast and Slow, where we focus on System 1 and System 2. But back to heuristics and biases. Here, Kahneman demonstrates repeatedly how easily heuristic methods and biases can lead to misinterpretations and misunderstandings. This is due to the fact that the automatic System 1 finds relationships and causality where none exist, and hence assign greater meaning to something that actually occurred due to chance. Anchors. An anchoring effect occurs when people are exposed to a random value before making an estimation of a specific value. The interesting thing is that often the estimates stay surprisingly close to the random value which the evaluator was exposed to beforehand, even if the evaluator is determined to resist the influence of the random value. If, for example, you ask a group of people to evaluate how old Gandhi was when he died with an anchoring follow-up question of whether you think he became older than 114, you'll end up with much higher estimates of his actual age at death than you would if the anchoring question referred to him dying before the age of 35. And if you consider how much you're willing to pay for a house, you'll be influenced by the asking price. The same house will appear more valuable if the listing price is high. In fact, this anchoring effect is so strong that it reaches absurd limits, and basically any number that you're asked to consider as a possible solution to an estimation problem will induce an anchoring effect. In one disturbing experiment, a fair number of judges were asked to establish a prison sentence for a woman who committed a crime. Before presenting their sentence, loaded dice were thrown onto the table, with a result that was always 3 or 9. On average, those judges which got a 9 proposed a sentence of 8 months in prison, whereas the average sentence of the judges who got a 3 was 5 months of prison. The availability heuristic. The availability heuristic operates on the notion that if I can think of it, it must be important. It's a mental shortcut that occurs when people make judgments about the probability of something based solely on how easy it is to think of examples. We assume our memories are a representative sample of reality and discount events that are outside of our immediate recollection. If we can quickly think of multiple examples of something, we will believe it's quite common. A commonly cited example of the availability heuristic is an experiment that asks people to recall words that begin with the letter K versus words that have K as their third letter. Because the participants could recall many more words that started with a K, such as kitchen, kangaroo, and kale, most of them were surprised by the fact that there are actually about twice as many words with K in third place. Availability heuristics also cause a bias in how we assess risk. Trends in media coverage cause people to fear some risks more than others, where in fact there is no legitimate reason for it. Like, for example, after watching a number of television programs about shark attacks, you assess the likelihood of a shark attack much higher than it actually is. The Linda problem. Another common bias by System 1 thinking is mistaking plausibility for probability. Kahneman illustrates this by an experiment called the Linda problem. It goes like this. Linda is a social activist. Is she more likely to be a bank teller or a feminist bank teller? Obviously, she is statistically more likely to be a bank teller because all feminist bank tellers are bank tellers. So if we choose feminist bank teller as our answer, we're decreasing our odds of being right. However, many people get fooled by System 1 and choose feminist bank teller simply because it feels more plausible. And with that, we conclude this video. We hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to give it a like. Take care and see you soon.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Big Ideas, Growing Minds. We are so happy you are here. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world to us. Today's big idea comes from Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman and his best-selling book, Thinking, Fast and Slow. The book offers a better understanding of how decisions are made, why certain judgment errors are so common, and how we can improve ourselves. In this video, we will focus on a bias which Kahneman labels the halo effect. For your ease of reference, the halo effect is introduced in Chapter 7 called A Machine for Jumping to Conclusions. The halo effect. Exaggerated emotional coherence. The halo effect is a common bias that plays a large role in shaping our view of people and situations. It goes like this. If you like the president's politics, you'll probably like his voice and his appearance as well. The tendency to like or dislike everything about a person, including things you have not observed, is known as the halo effect. You meet a man named Jim at a party and find him likable and easy to talk to. A couple of weeks later, his name comes up as someone who could be asked to contribute to a charity. What do you know about Jim's generosity? The fact is that you know virtually nothing, because there is little reason to believe that people who are agreeable in social situations are also generous contributors to charities. But you like Jim, and hence, you will automatically retrieve the feeling of liking him when thinking of him. You also like generosity and generous people. By association, you are now predisposed to believe that Jim is generous. And now, you probably like him even more, because you have added generosity to his pleasant attributes. Real evidence of generosity is missing in the story of Jim, and the gap is filled by a guess that fits your emotional response to him. In other situations, evidence accumulates gradually, and your interpretation is shaped by your emotions attached to the first impression. In an enduring classic of psychology, Solomon Asch presented descriptions of two people and asked for comments on their personality. Anna, intelligent, hardworking, impulsive, critical, stubborn, envious. Beth, envious, stubborn, critical, impulsive, hardworking, intelligent. What do you think of Anna and Beth? If you are like most of us, you viewed Anna much more favorably than Beth. The initial traits in the list change the very meaning of the traits that appear later. The stubbornness of an intelligent person is seen as likely to be justified and may actually evoke respect, while intelligence in an envious and stubborn person potentially makes her dangerous. In conclusion, the sequence in which we observe characteristics of a person is often determined by chance, yet sequence matters because the halo effect increases the weight of first impressions, sometimes to the point that subsequent information is mostly ignored. And with that, we conclude this video. We hope you have enjoyed it.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Big Ideas, Growing Minds. We're so happy you're here. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world to us. Today's big idea comes from the Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman and his best-selling book, Thinking, Fast and Slow. The book offers a better understanding of how decisions are made, why certain judgment errors are so common, and how we can improve ourselves. In this video, we will focus on a principle which Kahneman labels, "What you see is all there is." For your ease of reference, it is introduced in Chapter 7, A Machine of Jumping to Conclusions. If you're not already familiar with the work of Kahneman, we recommend that you check out our other video on Thinking, Fast and Slow, where we focus on System 1 and System 2. What you see is all there is. The measure of success of System 1 is the consistency of the story it creates. In the eyes of System 1, the amount and quality of the data on which the story is based are largely irrelevant. So, when information is scarce, which is a common occurrence, System 1 operates as a machine and jumps to conclusions. Consider the following. Will Beth be a good leader? She's intelligent and strong. Most likely an answer came quickly to your mind, and it was probably yes. Even though you were presented with very limited information, you went straight to the conclusion. But what if the next two adjectives were corrupt and cruel? Had you paused and activated System 2, you would have taken a more systematic and careful approach. And, for example, reflecting upon what one needs to know before forming an opinion about the quality of someone's leadership. But you didn't do that, since System 1 got to work on his own from the first adjective. Intelligent is good. Intelligent and strong is very good. And boom! System 1 delivered an answer with great cognitive ease. Often, the combination of a coherence-seeking System 1 and a lazy System 2 entails that System 2 endorses the intuitive beliefs of System 1, solely based on the principle of what you see is all there is. This is why humans can think fast and are able to make sense of partial information in a complex world. Much of the time, the coherent story we put together is close enough to reality to support reasonable action. And there you have it. The principle of what you see is all there is. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to give it a like. Take care and see you soon.